Good morning, team. It is the 1st of September. It's a Monday. They call it the Great Winter Lock-In. Well, you're in the right place because every day we're locking in. For this 30 days, we've been building an app every single day and making a video to go alongside it. So if you're new here, do subscribe so you don't miss any of the drops. And if you are looking to get into vibe coding, you're looking to build an app or a side project, you're in the right place because we've got a bunch of inspiration on the channel and we've got a bunch of guides and how-tos as well. So do check out our other videos. In today's video, we're going to be tackling a problem I run into every single night before bed. In this video, you're going to see us go through the ideation, the planning of the app, getting the project set up, getting it all working locally and on our phone in this instance. Then we're going to need to hook up the voice tech, perhaps some simple payments as well, a bunch of stuff. So yeah, just follow along, and I've got chapters in the video if you do want to skip ahead. But let's jump in. Okay, so I was a bit cryptic about today's build, but let me scroll back to an app we launched a week or so ago. Okay, so August 21st, we were playing with Voice AI. So this was the 11 Labs voice, and when we launched it, I spoke about this meditation app. I made a meditation AI voice app, which is pretty sick. So do give that video a watch on the YouTube channel. Pat Wall's friend of the show responded and he said, I fall asleep to podcasts, and I know there's a Cottage of Sleep podcast as well. And I have that exact same problem. Every night I like to listen to a good audiobook or podcast, but here's the thing, it needs to be just that right balance of mildly interesting. If it's too engaging, then it'll keep me up. If it's too boring, then it's too boring. No one wants to listen to stuff that is that boring. And every single night, I'm trying to find something good to listen to. When I do find a good book, I might blitz through it in a week. When I find a good podcast, the podcast is done. So he said it would be cool if AI could generate sleep podcasts, but in your favorite creator's voice. So that's what we're going to be building today. And I've got a few ideas of how we can do it, but let's jump into FigJam to map this out. And in terms of other demand and problem validation, if you go on Reddit, there's people looking for these sorts of podcasts as well. Interested, but not too interesting to fall asleep to. And again, quiet podcasts to sleep to. And I think there's a notion that this is quite like a niche thing, but I think a lot of people actually do this now. Maybe it's something to do with being on our phones all the time and having constant stimulation, maybe, but that's not the problem we're solving today. We're trying to help people get to sleep here, and that would be cool. So stay tuned for this build because I think it's going to be a fun one, and hopefully no crazy headaches or hair pulling out today. But anyway, let's jump into the plan. Okay folks, so here's a quick flow here. User needs a good sleep pod to get to sleep. They come to app, they can maybe create their own with a prompt, or they can browse pre-cooked pods/books. So really this is a kind of content play. We can do a bunch of different niches. I'm just thinking, do we want to do this as a web app, which would be easier, but really I think React Native, iPhone app, Android app, I think there would actually be like willingness to pay, and we could get some good distribution on the App Store. So I think we're going to come here to Convex and take this React Native quick start, and we're going to make a new folder here, sleep pods. We're going to make a new folder here called sleep pods, and then we're going to open our terminal. I'm using Ghostly terminal app here, so we're going to CD and drag that in, and then we're going to start Claude. We're going to type in Claude, dangerously skip permissions. Again, you don't need that second bit, dangerously skip permissions, but for a new project or new scope, I think it's fine. Just means we don't have to keep clicking every time. Hey, please set up native project with Convex. I'm also, yeah, actually, let's just do that. And hopefully that will just rip through and get that set up for us. Sweet. In the meantime, let's pull up the 11 Labs docs. I think maybe we'll try Cursor for today's build. We'll get Claude to cook up the start. And then, see, the problem is they've got this 3,000 character limit, whereas these guys have 40,000 character limit. What do they suggest if we want to create an audiobook? What mod? So Spotify actually accept these audiobooks, so we could even publish through there. And I think on YouTube there's a bunch of these sorts of sleep podcasts as well, and they're not very good quality. I did listen to one the other day, wasn't great.
Spotify is now accepting audiobooks narrated by 11 Labs.
So that is their V2 voice or V2.5. The V3 voice is just so good. It's just a shame not to do that. But audio, where did I just see audio production? Yeah, here, look, text to dialogue API. But we just have some crazy limits. So yeah, here we only get about 3 minutes of audio. So they've got this voiceover studio. I think that might be like for enterprise. I've got so many landing pages.
I feel your pain. Let's make golf uncomplicated.
Now, if you're ever down this way, we Southern folk love.
Or maybe what we can do is break it into 3-minute like chapters, and then just use the same voice. It'd probably be better to have 3 to 5 podcasts as like beta, rather than have 50 or 100 low quality ones that I listen to, be like, this is just AI. Okay, so let's see how we're doing with this one. So I need to do some manual steps here. So I'm going to open a new terminal window with Command N. I'm going to CD into my app here, and then I'm going to run npx convex dev. This will prompt you to log in with GitHub. Okay, let's do that. Sleep pod for now. Cloud, and that's going to set up the convex side of things, and we'll do this just for fun. Import sample data after it's set up. So that's going to upload the data here. Then we're going to start the app. Okay, so we can actually open this on our phone already, and we've got our web version here, which should have a to-do list. Well, maybe not. Maybe we need to do this. Let's start that and see if that works. Nope. So let's run that in a Claude code window. Okay, so there we had it. I think the tasks we added in weren't set up properly within Convex. So there we have it. Cool. What I'm also going to do is I'm going to make a little Python thing here. So I'm going to CD into this py folder that I just made. And this is going to be separate. We're just going to use this to work with 11 labs. But actually, maybe we should, because I had issues before. But I want it to have context of the project. Maybe let me put the, can I have a py? I'm going to see if we can have that within the convex folder. Okay, so now it's going to do that. Never underestimate the power of Mr. Claude Code. So then I'm going to drop in this docs here, and I said, can you get it set up? And I've pasted that in. Then I'm going to get an API key from the dashboard. Okay, and then we'll let that cook and come back in a second. Okay, cool. So we've got our project set up with 11 labs in this. So we got the app file here, and then we've got Python, and we've got an example audio here.
First move is what sets everything in motion.
Cool. So I think that is V2 voice, which is decent. I just don't know whether we want to go for V3 or not. Why don't we try stitch together V3 with short 3-minute chapters, and then we can see how that does. So let's just jump straight in. Let's grab a voice ID, V3 voice. I want to try out V3 voice sample. I got this good old Texas boy who knows a bit of a vibe,
Don't be shy.
but I don't actually think
Southern.
that is a V3 voice.
Hey there. Welcome to our amazing new app experience. This voice generation is absolutely incredible.
Yeah, nice.
You won't believe how natural.
Very good. Basically, I want to know, can we generate like longer podcasts? I'm thinking like half an hour, but to try that, can we stitch together 3 1-minute chapters just so we can see, is the voice consistent? But I guess make the prompt good 3 prompts, but make the prompt separated. Make each prompt that is 3 separate chapters, but are obviously cohesive, and then stitch the chapters together after. Does that make sense? Confirm back to me just to make sure you understand. Okay, so now we're going to stitch together 3 chapters just so we can see if we're going to be able to create longer podcasts with it and see if it's cohesive. Because what I don't want is each chapter sounding like a different dude. Maybe there's some best practices as well to keep that character cohesion. So try and prompt for consistency. Okay, so now we've got the scripts ready, and we're going to generate 3. So basically what it's going to do is, first of all, it's going to generate chapter 1, chapter 2, chapter 3, and then stitch them all together with ffmpeg. So we're going to run that now, and there we have it. So we'll come back and check that out. Okay, as you can see here, full podcast is ready. So let's check it out here.
Welcome to Deep Work Mastery, the podcast that transforms how you approach focus and productivity. I'm your host, and today we're diving into something absolutely fascinating. Have you ever wondered why some people can work for hours without distraction, while others struggle for even 10 minutes?
It's good.
The answer lies in understanding what I call the attention architecture of your mind. Throughout history, the greatest thinkers and creators have all shared one common trait. Years of research, the first design. Physical space isn't just where you work.
It's slightly different, isn't it?
Research and experimentation. Serious. The first pillar is what I call environmental design.
The voice is fine. I think it's just that serious. Felt super unnatural. Can you think through step by step what happened here? Okay, so we can see here that this was the transcript.
Consistency between chapters is.
So it looks like maybe it just doesn't like that confident tag. It keeps freezing. Okay, so quick update. We've been bouncing around quite a bit, but let's run this script for a 5-minute podcast. The tags were behaving a little bit weird. I'm going to try this out, and if this doesn't work, then we'll just go with V2 voices for now. So let's go to our Python and then run that, and we'll check back soon. And what I don't want is like 20 minutes into a podcast, you're hearing like script tags and stuff. Let me update you where we are. Basically, I'm not going to go through all the code, but basically we were just making sure that 11 Labs would be able to stitch together all the V3 pieces, and it wasn't super smooth. What we did in the end was just remove all the tags, so it's just straight up text to voice, but it is super good quality. And we just tried to generate like a half-hour piece, and it did fail in places, so we've just made it even more bulletproof, so we should be able to generate longer tracks without any issues. Now, what else did we do? So we wanted to get our Expo app or React Native app handled properly. So what did we do here? Let me go up to the prompt. So I said, can you clean up the homepage so it's just a simple app? It should be dark mode, use guys font, nice spacing. It's a sleep podcast app for things to listen to get off to sleep. For the MVP, let's have a simple track list. I can click on each one and has a minimal play UI, which allows the MP3 track to play and have a sleep timer. We should have some MP3 files in convex. So then it came up with this plan, and it's a simple app. It's not super complex. I think the complexity, if any, is in how we generate these long form pieces of content. They're actually good quality, and you can take this same sequence and apply it to things with images and videos as well if you want, and if you've got the right tools. But let me also just touch on how we are, because I have been cracking on since we spoke to, and it's not that interesting to just show you every terminal thing. Let me try and find this. So basically we made let me check if we're recording. Basically we made a content generation pipeline. So it takes the concept of whatever it is we want the podcast to be about, then it makes chapter outlines, and it does some overlapping to make sure the AI has context of the script as it's writing next chapters. So then we create each script, then we pass it to 11 Labs, and then we stitch it all together. Like I said earlier, with V3, we can only generate like a minute of audio content at a time. So we basically have to stitch together a bunch of different clips. So it's made its own Python workflow, so we could just kick off with a script. And like I said, we were running into some errors. So now let's try and do a 5-minute sleep podcast here. And as you can see, it says planning chapter structure, creating podcast concept, planning chapter structure, writing chapter scripts. I do low-key feel like I need a bit of a weekend, even though it's Monday and we did just have a weekend. So maybe I'm going to need these sleep tracks to help me get off to sleep. But you might be able to tell the energy is dipping. But we're over halfway, so we just got to keep tracking. It's just like falling forward, one foot in front of the other. But we're getting better at the builds. We're getting better at deploying. We're getting better at adding paywall. We've still got a bunch of really cool ideas. We want to build some beefier ones. I feel like what I do is I sit down. Maybe I'm a bit low energy for the day. Maybe we had a late night last night like we did to ship our Aura for GitHub. And I'm like, okay, let's do a chill one. But if I keep doing chill ones, then, I need to make sure that apps stay good. I know this one isn't super technical. But anyway, I'm waffling. Let me show you the actual app. Nice and simple, nice and clean. We can't really use Shadcn here because it's React Native. I think there might be a way, but we're not going to mess around too much with that. So you come here, you click on one, you press play.
As we continue our journey through the
Play
ocean's
bingo,
mystery,
presto, whatever they say, it plays. So now the trick is to just get some more tracks generated. As you can see here, it does that. It's not going to be the quickest, but like I said earlier, I'm glad we've got the V3 working. Even though it'd be easy to just generate 50 versions with V2, I think we're in a good place here. And we're not going to allow people to generate their own yet. We'll put this up. I'm going to beta test it. I'm going to actually listen to one of these. I might generate like an hour one. That'd be sick. And then get that on my app, Expo Go. And then who knows? And then by the time this video drops, I would have used it. Maybe I would have added some new tracks as well. I think for now we're going to launch with 3. Maybe a half hour, maybe 2 half-hour ones and an hour one. And yeah, there we go. If you are interested, whilst I've got this mic, I feel like I can really ramble with when I'm holding the mic like this. I'm editing the video in the afternoon. Usually I edit the video in the morning, then I have a bit of a catch a breath in the afternoon, and then I make the product into the night. But now I'm going to try and wrap up the product pretty soon and then do the editing later in the day. So we'll see how that goes. I don't know how I feel about it in the first day because I feel like I've got this bit of work on my shoulder. Usually it's quite nice to get the video done and then you just got the product for the rest of the day, but hey ho, we'll see how we go and I'll catch you with an update soon. And by the way, we've just made a 5-minute podcast. No errors, which is sweet. Have a listen.
As we begin our journey, we find ourselves in the fertile lands of Mesopotamia, the cradle of civilization.
Pretty relaxing if you ask me. Could, get a bit of
Their
shut
daily
eye.
life revolved around these vital waterways which nourished their crops and sustained their communities. Picture the Sumerians as they worked the fields.
We're using
harnessing the rivers to
three mini for the scripts. I don't know why. I was feeling a bit grokky today. And I looked at Grok 4, but it's like the same price as Claude Sonnet, so who knows. Okay, guys, it's been a minute, but here we are. We are live. It's out on prod. You can go get it. We're making sure we're following the rules, even if today, on this Monday, we haven't had the most beans in our coffee. Is that even a saying? Maybe not, but I've just made it up. So we've got 3 tracks here, and hopefully by the time you're watching, I've added some more, and hopefully I've used it by then as well. So Ancient Mysteries, love a bit of ancient civilizations, don't we, here on the show? So we'll play just to validate that is working.
Journey through time, where we'll explore the echoes of the past and the whispers of ancient cultures.
Sounds pretty good, eh? Cheers to 11 Labs V3 there. We got a sleep timer on there as well. Look, I know it's not the fanciest build, but definitely going to tune in and hopefully helps me get off to a good night's sleep. So I'm feeling refreshed for tomorrow's episode. So I hope you enjoyed that one. I have actually got one of my apps already queued up for App Store deployment. I know there's a bit of a process there. I need to do some admin and fill out some app details, upload some screenshots. But having fun with Expo is pretty sweet to be able to vibe code mobile apps. I think as we go forward, that might be an even bigger use case for people and companies. Also, stay tuned for that. And if you're watching up to here, thank you very much for watching. Appreciate it. And cheers for sticking with us. And yeah, all the best.